Hey, hey,
Hello.
hey, hey, it's your girl, Pastor Angela Johnson. Of course, we are one sister to another with a show with information, inspiration, and godly revelation. Heard live on all of your, of course, social media platforms. We are here. Y'all don't believe this, but I am on location. What are myself and my executive producer always doing? We're always going somewhere because we are in the aviation world. And so, of course, we thank you all so much for joining us on a great day down in Carbondale. We're down in Carbondale. We brought a group of high schoolers from all over the globe to, of course, Southern University. As a matter of a fact, SIU Southern University, because y'all, I know this is going to be real bad, but did you all know, I did not know that we have an aviation school pretty much intertwined with Southern University, and we're down in Southern University right here in Carbondale. And so we're excited about being here. Listen, want to make sure that you all are getting ready for an amazing, amazing show. I need you to like, I need you to tag, and I need you to share. But particularly, I need you to make sure you're going to YouTube Avant Music. Go to YouTube and click on Avant Music, and you're going to be able to listen to us there. You're going to be able to stream with us there. You're going to be able to ask questions there. And we want all of the camaraderie of our station right here. So look, I got to introduce our guest for today. But before I introduce our guest, I got to bring on my girl. Y'all know her. Come on. She is our notary. She's a realtor. She is all of our big sister. She do not play about her people, y'all. None other than my girl, My Tay. She is in real.
Hey.
Y'all, she got a whole bunch of glass. Do y'all hear me? She can see. Come on here. She can see. And then how about this? And then, so My Tay is my guest, is my code today. She's going to help me pull this thing off. But also, our guest today is no stranger. Y'all know her as one of the Brown sisters. Y'all know you got the Clark sisters, but then you got the Brown sisters, okay? I think the Clark sisters got they singing from the Brown sisters. Anyway, that's me. Y'all don't put that out there, but you can put it out there. I don't care. Look, the Brown sisters. Okay, so my girl is here. Vanessa Brown Dukes is also no stranger to insurance, life insurance. Hey, she's called. Look, are you a broker for American Family Insurance?
Right.
She is here today. Guess what, y'all? We're getting ready to get this thing popping and crack-a-lacking. Don't forget to like, share, and tag. Like, share, and tag. And don't forget to tell your people to tell your people to tell your people that we are on Avant Music as well. They're following us, and so we're excited about that. Listen at this. Our theme for the month, My Tay, is minding your own business. Now, when we first threw that thing out there, everybody thought we was talking about folk business for real. Like, you know, who shot John, who's sleeping with who. I don't care about none of that. What I care about is about us minding our business as it pertains to finances, as it pertains to investments, as it pertains to making sure our credit is tight. Tell me this.
Right.
Tell me this, and I'm bringing in, of course, My Tay, but then we finna throw that thing at our guests really, really heavy. My Tay, when you think of minding your own business, what are some of the things you think of right off the bat?
I just think of leveling up, right?
Leveling up.
For me, leveling up, making sure that you are consistently working towards becoming better in every area of your life. You know, minding your business.
Your business. I love it. I love it. What about you, I guess today, and Vanessa, you're a part of the family, and so we don't want this thing to be all orthodox, because we unorthodox in this room, right? Because we the show. But we want to know from your perspective, being a business woman. And of course, we need you to share, Vanessa, maybe share who you are, where you're from, and then share maybe something with our listeners, our viewers, that they don't know about you. And then we're going to go right into life insurance. But go ahead and talk to us about, what do you think about when you hear the phrase minding your own business?
Well, I tell you, that's loaded. When I hear that, minding your own, it's loaded, baby. Look, I'm always a woman of, hey, take care of your business. Okay, I say it like that because I love that phrase, minding your own business. I look at it like taking care of things from A to Z. Okay, from the house to the company to the your children to your parents, your family, your church, your girls that you hang out with. They said, Vanessa, you always coming with information, baby. When I find out something, I'm gonna let you know about it. You understand what I'm saying? And when I found, like she just said, bettering yourself, constantly bettering yourself. I tell my kids, I said, I'm never too old to learn. So when the children are talking to you about the way they do things now, shut up and listen. Mind your business, because they're
You just
trying to
help
help
right
you
there.
get it right.
Yeah.
We think we know it all. Sometimes we don't know it all. We're trying to still figure this out, okay? We're going to be figuring it out till we leave here, okay?
Right.
So mind your business is a loaded
It's
situation.
loaded.
We'll talk about that as we go.
But you know what? But Vanessa, this is so true how you
Yeah,
are, of course, sharing. Tell us this. And so, in the same regard, you have had to mind your own business because I want to say what 20 years ago you were married to Mr. Dukes, and then the Lord called him home. Tell us
yeah,
how you have had to now carry
yes,
the business,
yes,
because
yeah,
there's some things he started before he left
yeah.
here. Go ahead.
Exactly, exactly. My husband and I were married. Uh, Actually, this will be the seventh year. In September, be the seventh year that he's been deceased. We got married in '86, so this would have been our 37th anniversary. Believe it or not, okay, I was young. Okay, no, I'm just kidding. But this would have been our 37th year. We were married for 30 years. We worked together every day and built our business from scratch. I mean, from the living room at home, calling about, would you like insurance? Would you like for us to talk to you about? So we built that business and we worked together. Actually, that our business is like 26 years old now. Okay. And when he passed away, I got to give you this information. When he passed away, the company gave me a beautiful little six-figure check and say, hey, thank you so much. We're going to miss your husband and you guys in the agency, and we appreciate blah, 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 blah. I said, oh, I said, this is nice, but what are we doing with the agency? They said, well, we have to take the agency back because it's under Forrest Duke's agency, his name. We have to take the agency back. So, blah, blah, blah. And I said, so what am I getting ready to do? They said, well, we can't help you in that regard. We have to take the agency because it belongs to American Family for the senior part. They said, if he's not here, he can no longer run it. I said, well, he would roll over in his grave and tell you that I worked 50 to 60% of this agency with him every day for the
Hello.
last 20 years or whatever have you. They said, oh, we understand that, but we don't just give an agency to a spouse. You have to show us something. So to the glory of God, God blessed me and I showed them different areas where I was instrumental in building the agency. And they said, wow. And they looked at different things and they said, wow. They said, okay, well, we'll get back to you in a couple of weeks. Well, I'm one that's really big on financials and life insurance. Okay. So I said, and I'll just be kind of straight up with you guys. A lot of agents have a problem with life insurance. They don't produce like the company wants you to produce. So they said, well, we'll let you know in 2 weeks. And I said, okay, that's fine. And a week later, I called the company. I said, or the director, I said, listen, I got about 10 life deals here waiting in the queue. And I was wondering, did you want me to take it to this other company or did you want to go ahead? They said, you got the job. You got the company. They
You hear that,
gave me the
Maite?
company
That's
right
what I'm
there.
talking
They did
about.
not wait another week or what, because they saw the numbers that were coming in because of my passion for it. I don't care a lot about sales. I care about passion for helping people, directing people, and things like that. So they were
So you
able to
know
give me
what?
the
But
agency.
that's awesome, Vanessa.
Mhm.
Listen. So as you all know, she just shared. So the name of her company is American Family Insurance.
Mhm.
Okay.
Right.
I'm telling you all, girls are ruling the world. Now
Yes.
we're not out of the zone. We are right in the zone. Someone
Right.
made this statement recently that this is the year and the season of the woman. I believe it with all my heart.
Yes.
So check this out.
Yes.
So we are talking about this month, minding your own business. But today on the show, we're talking
Hmm.
about minding your own business as it pertains to life insurance. And so, of
Okay.
course, look. So I want you to share with us just a little bit,
Hmm.
Vanessa. What do you think? Who should have life insurance? and why should they have life insurance?
Okay. And don't everybody go to the negative with me on this. I think a baby that enters the world ought to start with life insurance.
My executive
That's
producer is
just
over here nodding her head saying,
that's
yep, we just
that's
finished talking
just
about that.
yes, that's just real. My daughter just had her first baby, her and her husband. I'm here in Arizona, and they just had
Can't
their
wait.
first baby 2 days ago. You know who's about to write a policy. You know what I'm saying? Now, it's not about the policy, it's about the value in the policy for the life of the person. Okay. So I'm not in it for this here. You don't write a policy for this here. You write policies to to strengthen the lifestyle of a person.
You
Okay.
better help us
So,
today. You don't talk.
baby, let me tell you. So when that baby grows up, that baby would have policy that she can go into. I told my daughter, you don't have to worry, your baby's already a millionaire. Okay, because you do the right types of policies. There's a lot of policies out here, but you do the right types of policies and put those grandbabies in those policies that's growing money. And I tell my friends and clients, I said, I'm not comfortable if I'm not growing money in my sleep. Touch your neighbor. You ought to be
Well,
making money in your sleep.
you hear that, neighbor?
If you're not making money in your sleep, you ain't making money.
All
A
right.
job is good, okay? But there are policies out there where you can make money, grow money, and you look over there 5 years later, where did that extra $10,000 come from? Touch your neighbor. You know what I'm saying? So everybody needs life insurance. And I did start with the babies, but now as we get older, we go, oh, I got insurance on my job. I got insurance. Let me tell you something. There's nothing wrong with having insurance on your job, but do you own that insurance on your job?
No.
Because when you leave that job, right? When you leave that job,
Hmm.
what do you have? You have a wonderful paycheck, pension, and all of that stuff. But that life insurance goes back to that company. So you no
Someone
longer.
said, is this Vanessa Dukes from Living Word? Yes, it is. And it's Vanessa Dukes from, look, We Are Woman. Come
It's
on.
the same
Okay.
one.
My take,
Yeah.
I'm gonna throw the mic at you for a little bit because I see your
Wheels turning. Yeah.
wheels are turning.
Yeah, talk to us.
Because
Yeah, you
listen,
know what? Because, well, actually, she's hitting on my questions because what I was gonna say when you were talking about the life insurance on your job, I used to be one who
talk
I
about
had a lot of life insurance on my job, but when it came down to the kids, they could only ride for like
10 grand.
25,000 or something.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
25 a year or something like that. And as far as like the policy that you were talking about growing wealth from, I mean, I don't know about those policies. So I mean, you got a new customer. So
Right.
We
Me
got
too.
to have
I
lunch.
got your phone number. I got it. You got a new customer. But can we talk about that real quick? How much in detail can you go into about that? Like how much is enough?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
what's
I
the
want to know.
least amount of
Yeah.
insurance that we should have?
You said the least amount?
So we want to know what's the least amount and what
And then the most.
yeah,
right.
please.
I'll start with saying this and come down. You can never have too much, okay?
Okay.
Now I come down. I tell people, and this is how I write my clients. I tell people, get what you can afford. People will tell you, you need to get this, you need to get that. If you get this, you need to get 10 times your income. Everybody's not able to do 10 times your income.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? If you can't do $500,000 and be comfortable with that payment every month, don't waste your time because now you're paying out premiums. You're paying out premiums. You're struggling with premiums every month, and then it cancels in a year or two, and you have wasted money. I tell people work within your means. So what you do is you eliminate debt elsewhere. You paid off a car or you paid off a couple of credit cards and paid them down. Now you have an extra $100 or $200 a month to invest in this particular product. So you don't just take money, take a product and say, oh yeah, I can do that. And you find that you really can't. No one wants to waste money. So what I do, if I can be flat out and honest with everybody, because that's the only way I know how to be when it comes to my products, what I do is I start at the bottom with everybody.
Okay.
And I'm just being real. And Edge, I start at the bottom. I said, baby, let me tell you something. I did a lady, and I done wrote about 7 policies since I've been here in Arizona. Okay, anyway, I did a lady the other day, 50 something years old. I said, you need just a basic policy just in case something happens, because
Okay.
they have some of these companies that like to take folks' money and don't give them nothing but this much policy. I gave her 3 times the item that 3 times the coverage that she had with the other company. I'm not going to call the name.
Okay.
And gave her 3 times the coverage for just a little bit over what she's paying for that little policy that she has. But I push term insurance for people who may not have that much money. So for $50 or $60, she got $150,000, $200,000 for a 50-something year old. Touch your neighbor, really? You know what I'm saying?
Now that was one
I'm
of my
sorry.
questions. One of my questions was, what's the difference? And see, you keep leading me to them. One of my questions is, what's the difference between term insurance and whole life?
And whole
That's
life.
the main question. That is the main question.
That's the
for
question
everybody, and I
of the year.
appreciate that question. Yeah, the difference between term and whole life. Term, listen to that word, is just for a term.
Mm.
Okay. Just, I'd like to keep it as simple as possible. It is just for a term. 10-year term, 20-year term, 30-year term. It's just for a term. And so people, a lot of times when they buy a new house, they'll say, I'm going to get a mortgage protection term policy. And so what's the mortgage term usually, everybody? How many
30
years?
years. 30 or
30-year
15.
mortgage. So they get a 30-year term product to cover. I just bought a $300,000 house. So I said, I'm going to get so they say, I just bought a $300,000 house. So I need to get a $300,000 term product, life insurance, in case something happens to me, my wife
I was going to ask you that.
In case something happens to me, my husband will be able to pay the house off. When my husband died, and we had those term products, and I was able to pay off my house with a $40 a month touch your neighbor product.
Neighbor.
Baby, I'm
help?
sorry, I get worked up. Y'all forgive me.
No, go and get worked up.
I get so worked up because it's so simple. You go out there and pay $200 for a pair of shoes, gym shoes and stuff, or a pair of stilettos, and you can't keep a $40 or $50 a month premium pay for the sake of your family.
Now, Vanessa.
Yes.
Vanessa Brown Duke.
Yes, ma'am.
You just made segue to where I want to go. So
yes.
It's so disturbing to me that we are pastors, leaders, fivefold ministry, give prophets and teachers and apostles and bishops. You're wearing the best shoe from Rome, but then you turn around and you do not have any life insurance. Can you tell me why people continue? Can you tell me why people don't choose to have life insurance? Leaders especially.
Tell you why. I can tell you why. Let me tell you why. Because first of all, people, they don't want to take care of business. They want to look good. They want to sound good. They want to do all of this, blah, 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 blah. But there's another reason that's untold. Let me tell you the untold reason. Some people have had a policy for the last 15, 20 years, changed bank accounts, allowed it to lapse out. Watch this. Put your seatbelt on. They allowed the policy that they've had for the last 20 years. Sometimes it's a term that ran out. Now, we're going to talk about that in a minute.
Okay.
But they allowed the policy to cancel out. Now, they're trying to reinstate it, or they're trying to get a new policy and get covered. Now they have diabetes, what you call it, dialysis.
Hypertension. Come on.
And
nobody is going to physically.
Nobody will insure them. So how many people y'all know that have $100,000 sitting up in a bank account? How many people we know that have that? So they end up going uninsured, and they say, oh, I don't know what to do. I've been trying this company. I tried that company. Generally in the life insurance world, if one company denies you, That's the status quo for all company, the life companies. However, we have companies that will write you if you got cancer, dialysis, if you're on your sick bed, they will write you. Now they're not going to write you no $100,000 policy, touch your neighbor. They're going to write you a 10,000 burial policy, 20,000 up to 25,000, and you will know that those policies will be very expensive. So for the average, say, 60-year-old. The average 60-year-old to get a $10,000 policy, you're probably talking about $70. Still not undoable.
Right.
Because if you ain't got $10,000, you should have 70 a month. Right?
Yeah.
So, that's the reason some of these people are running around here uninsured, won't take care of their business, because they allow things to get out of control by doing all these extra purchases, and you don't let your life insurance cancel. I had a young lady here in Vegas, down here in Vegas. She said, "Oh, I let my policies cancel. I got to rewrite everything." I said, "Okay." I said, "We rewrite everything," and she went to do everything and write all her family's policies. Well, she didn't get approved. And she's our age group and younger, Angie. So that bothered me. But what they said was her height and weight, due to her height and weight, we're not going to be able to
talk about that a little bit, because
Yeah.
a lot of people don't know, right, Maite? People just don't know that.
Yeah, that's
Who would ever
really
think it?
crucial.
Yeah.
So there's a table that they go by. A lot of us are considered overweight, just black folk walking.
Yeah.
Y'all know the table is real, like you got to be 8 thin, but there's a standard like preferred, which is a pretty decent, like let's just say a 5'7" and 160 pounds, 170 pounds. That's not bad. That kind of thing. So, but if you're 5'7", you're 220 pounds, you're going to be on what's called a standard table. And that's a table that will cover you, but they're going to upgrade the coverage to get a little bit more because you're a little higher at risk.
Mm-hmm.
So there are several tables that they would allow you to be, to go on. But generally, the average person is rated on preferred because they're not very, very strict with those tables. They're not too strict with the tables. So, I mean, but my thing is, we need to understand. I tell my clients when we do the policy, I said, I need you to drink a lot of water now. I need you to do this. I need you to do that. Don't be doing a lot of this, a lot of that. One person, a couple of people, had a situation where they were stressed out. And then by the time the examiners got there, the blood pressure was way up there. So you got to be very careful when you do the exam. Do it in the morning. Get up, drink your water. Don't be had no big old whopping sandwich the night before and then wonder why your stuff is high the next morning.
Oh, wow.
So I've seen that happen.
We got, oh my God, we got this subject matter is so important now. It's important for the leader. It's important for us being moms. Maite, what would be some of your, maybe what would be one of your questions or so you would ask Vanessa, American Family Insurance, right now? If you were sitting at the table with her right now, what would be maybe one of your concerns about her writing a life insurance policy for you and maybe your children?
Okay, so then what if I'm not interested in term insurance? What if I want whole life insurance?
What I was saying, I push term first. I meant to say first.
No. Yeah. I'm just asking because what happens when you outlive the term?
Yeah. So after the period of the term, you got it. Like 10, 20, 30-year terms. So the average person get a 30-year term. Some people back in the day when they were not offering 30-year term, they would get a 20-year term. So at the end of that term, your premium, which may have been $40, $30 or $40 a month, now goes up to $500 a month or $400 a month because now you're in this 20th year. So now what you can do is you can buy another term at 50 or 60 years old. Because we've been there for 26 years. So I got a lot of my clients, they'll call and say, We want to buy another term. In fact, I just sold one to a high school, a friend of mine, and he bought a new term. So at 60 years old, 59, 60 years old, that same term for 250,000 or whatever, it's probably going to be more like what men are always higher. It's probably going to be like $100 a month. But you're still talking about $200,000 for, well, not just look at $90 a month. That's $3 a day. You can't even buy a sandwich no more with that. You know what I'm saying? So we encourage them to do. They can do that, or they can. And this is part I love about term. Your term is over, right, at 30 years, and you're 69 years old, right? You said, "What do I do? I'm almost 70 years old." You take the term, and hear me when I say this part. With the right company, you can convert your term over into a lifetime whole life policy. So now you're 70 or whatever, 75 or whatever, and now you no longer need the really big policy, because usually the house is paid off, the car, you don't have a lot of debt. You just want a burial policy. So generally we do what's called a conversion, a term conversion into a whole life product, which is 25, 50,000, just enough to bury you and things like that. However, with that whole life product, that's where you get that cash value build up. Okay. So in 10 years, you may have $6,000 or $7,000 cash in that whole life policy. Okay. So you're not just putting big money away, because whole life is way more expensive than term life.
And then in whole life, that's where you said, like, we can, stack money, but not in term, correct?
Not in term. Term is so inexpensive till you cannot save. There's no savings at all. Once it's over, it's over. There's no, let me see how much cash I built up. None of that with term.
Right. And then, and then whole life is where you can actually borrow. So when people are borrowing from a policy, that's a whole life policy.
Right.
I got it.
So talk to us.
Go ahead.
No. I was going to say, Vanessa, talk to us about some of the people who come and sit down and talk to you about a whole life or term, and why is their reasoning? What's their reasoning for not choosing whole versus term? I heard some of what you said, but I want give us some scenarios so we can really bring it home.
Exactly. Yeah. With the term life, it's more of the affordability feature and the value. And I tell people, y'all know me, I'm straightforward. In my presentations, the richest people buy term insurance.
Shut up.
The richest people. You hear people, Consor got $1 million policy on him. They are not doing $1 million whole life. You cannot do that, or you will not do that. Let me just say it like that. Because just say $100,000 whole life is about $300 a month. But $100,000 term life is about $30 a month. You got me? So the reason for the term is because while you are paying for the term, you ever heard the buy term and invest the difference? You're going to pay for the term because it's so cheap. If you're getting a policy for $2 a day, which is $60 a month, right? What are you going to do with the rest of that money, the extra money that you're bringing in? What are you going to do with that money? You need to take at least $150 a month. That's a small portion, but $200 a month, and say, now this money, I'm going to take it and I'm going to invest it. I'm going to invest it. So that's why they said buy term and invest the difference. So you do that term. The thing about term is so cheap. Why is it so cheap or inexpensive? Because they don't expect you to need it. They don't expect you to die. So you're just giving the company a little bit of money. Yeah, the term is so inexpensive because they don't expect you to need it. I didn't expect my husband to die at 51 years old. He'd never been sick a day in his life. All of a sudden, we found out he had cancer. So we got a chance, and like we talked earlier, you can't have too much policy, you can't have too much insurance. He had 3 separate policies on himself. So we were able to cash those in. But the thing about it, they didn't expect him to die. They're going to give you those policies term policy. And another thing I do when you say clients come into the office and talk about their families and see what they want for insurance, all of my clients, and they'll tell you, Miss Dukes will do this. When they sit down with me, I said, how many grown children do you have? I got 3. They ain't grown, but you know how these kids are. I know how they are. That's why I'm asking you. I need you to get a policy on each of those grown children to cover them and those grandbabies. Now, who want to talk about the grandbabies? Everybody want to talk about their grandbabies. Am I right about it? So I encourage them to get a policy on their grown children, and it has a rider to cover all of the grandchildren. For only $2, you can cover 7 grandchildren touching neighbor. All of them get $15,000. I did not say $2 per child. $2 per policy. So if the policy for your grown tail children is only $25 a month, I did a lady the other day for her grown daughter right here in Arizona. Her grown daughter, it was $22 a month for $250,000, and it had a rider for all the children she would ever have. They will all get $15,000, $22 a month. I can't hear nobody in this Presbyterian church. Y'all too quiet for me. That's what pastor's saying.
So Vanessa, but tell us this. So but it's real. It's real. I want you to share with us, why do you believe our leaders, our church leaders, other leaders are not getting insurance? And you are, ever since I've known American Family through Vanessa Brown Dukes, you've always made the cost reasonable. So can you please tell me, what are their answers to you when you say to them, man, could you please tell me, how is it that you got a church that is worth $300,000 and your board cannot afford to give you life insurance, but they're giving you a stipend?
Yeah, I think a lot of times, this just came to me. I think a lot of times them and their board, I think they have been misinformed.
Okay.
A lot of times they think, oh, that's too expensive. We're not going to do that. But I have a lot of pastors. I said, let me talk to you. Let's talk about what your church can write for you. Because the church needs to pay for a policy for that pastor and his family. And when the pastor becomes deceased, the church gets a portion of that money, and the spouse gets a portion of that money. Okay. And so the board will agree to get that policy, but I kid you not, there are companies out here that will go for the gusto. Oh, I got a pastor, I'm gonna charge them $300 a month. So what's the board gonna say? We can't do that. But if you got the pastor and you're taking care of the pastor and his family for less than $100 a month, maybe 90 or maybe 100, they said, we can do that.
We can do a sacrificial offering on that.
Exactly. It's in the accounts, So yeah, a lot of times these companies, these agents, I do a lot of presentations on Sunday mornings. The one pastor said, I'm not going to preach today. We're just going to turn it over to you. I said, oh. So I have my scripture included, But they bring us in now to talk to their members, because they said these members, I said in my presentation, your pastor's not supposed to bury you. Don't be talking about, well, I've been in this church for 20 years and now so-and-so passed away in my family. I need y'all to help me. Well, they're going to help you with a love offering of maybe $100, $200, $250. But they're not trying to come up with no $5,000, $10,000 to bury your family member. That's something you should have taken care of while you at the store every weekend, at the mall every Saturday.
Because at the end of the day, Maite, how many times are we hearing about our close loved ones who are on freaking Facebook asking for somebody to do a GoFundMe? That is embarrassing.
GoFundMe, right? GoFundMe gonna run out. It's gonna run out.
Yeah.
Talk to us, Maite.
Yeah, I was asked to put together one for my family and for a family member, and I didn't do it. But anyway,
and we're not saying that. Necessarily someone doesn't need that. What we're saying is that why are we going there, Vanessa, when you are willing to come to that church, come to that company? Come on, let's talk about small business. Let's talk about small business real quick, Vanessa. Small businesses, how do you believe you can best help them. Small businesses being able to come into that small business and talk to them about life insurance and make it affordable. How, what talk to us a little bit about that.
Right. They need to make that a part of their business expense.
You're saying it.
Okay. With small businesses, you need what's called, there's a business key policy. And that means the key people of that business are insured within the business and within the financial structure of the business, the key people. So say for instance, you got a president, vice president, controller, whatever you got. Say for instance, you just got 4 people running that business. Each one of those persons should have a policy. You should have a policy on each one of those persons. Just a simple term policy. You're not trying to do no cash value on those policies. Simple term policy you want to have on those people, because should you lose one of those key people, your business might suffer. So you need to have had something to sustain you, so during the time for you to find a replacement for that key person. So there's a thing called key people. When I write businesses, I say, okay, who all are the people that work with this business? We need to write a policy on those key people. They hesitate a lot of times. Sometimes they don't do it. They ain't going nowhere. And then sometimes you have a death. Now you got to find somebody that was as good as that person to keep this business going. So that key person insurance is a serious expense that needs to be considered when it comes to writing businesses and sustaining your small business.
Lady,
on yourself first.
Go ahead, Maite.
I never heard of that. That's so great. I'm gonna tell you something else I learned too. Backtracking a little bit. I was talking about the podcast earlier this week with a friend, and we were talking about, the topic, life insurance. And she told me that she has her life insurance and it's bundled with her rental insurance and her car insurance. Is that something that you're able to do as well?
Yeah, no? It's a package. You have your homeowners or your renters, you have your car insurance, and you have your life insurance. It's all the package that's bundled. And because you have your home and auto, you don't get a discount on life insurance ever. You get a discount on your home and your auto because you have life. So just a little small 2%, 3% discount, but they can bundle it, yes.
That's awesome too.
But Vanessa, being able to bundle, that might direct some more volume to American Family Insurance, though, at the end of the day.
Right.
So I'd rather get one bill than 3.
That's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
And no matter how minute, no matter how small, guess what?
Right.
That will redirect some, of course, some volume right to American Family.
Exactly.
Hey, Vanessa, tell them how they can connect with you to start talking to you about insurance. Tell them how they can do that, and then we're going to go further. Go ahead.
Yeah. What I do is tell people to give me a call. You can call my office at 708-383-1400. 708-383-1400. And so what I also do is I take a look at people's policies. Some people, I know them from, where we know them from. They go, I just want to bring all my business to you. I said, hold on. We want to make sure that's the feasible thing to do. Because if you're in a good spot right now, I am not going to move you out of a good spot. Okay?
Can you say the number one more time for us, please? We're trying to put
it. Sure. 70. Somebody can put it in the chat if you want.
That's what we're doing now.
Okay. 708-383-1400. American Family Insurance. And make sure you ask for Vanessa. My staff is there, but when I do presentations, I tell them to ask for Vanessa, and they will connect you right to me. I don't care. Even here in Arizona, they've been connecting calls to me because I keep my computer with me. But and what was I saying? But yeah, you can call. Oh, I look at people's current policies because sometimes they say, I want you to see if I'm good. I write a lot of churches. I just wrote a church in Joliet this week. And the thing about it is, one pastor came to me, good friend of mine. He said, they just installed me as pastor, and I really would like for you to do our church insurance. I said, well, do you have insurance? He said, yeah. I said, well, let me look at what you have. And I took a look at what he had. I said, Precious, I appreciate you wanting to give me the business, but my concern is that you be in the best place. I said, and this is a great policy. I'm not going to touch it. and
Wow.
did not take the business because I am more concerned about people being in their best place. And I tell you, God blesses me the way He blesses me because I am not about Vanessa. I am about the people, and I have tried to educate our people. And to God be the glory. I've seen a lot of turns and a lot of changes, and to God be the glory again. I'm one of the top life salespeople in my, my area with American Family
No
and
doubt.
things like that. So I just like to make sure we give people the best so they can bring their policies by my office or email the stuff to me and I look at it and I tell them yay or nay. If you were a terrible company, one lady, I'll tell you this real quick. One lady said, okay, let me let you look at my stuff. And I came to her house and like, this is years ago. And she's with that company. I don't want to mention that name. It's horrible with taking over our Black people, misinforming our people. And she said, I got 100,000 on me and 400 on my husband. I said,
Oh my God.
I don't know what happened, but
I don't know either, but
okay, I'm sorry.
okay, there you go. That's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
Don't
yeah.
you
I'm
stress
sorry. I
nothing
said, let me
because
take a look at
it's
the
hot. Go
policy.
ahead and finish.
I'm
Yeah, then
sorry.
we're gonna ask you this
Yeah.
question. That's okay.
Yeah, I
And
said,
she
let me
said
take a
what?
look at it. She said, she said, I want you to see, take a look at my policy. I have 100,000 on me and 400 on my husband. I said, oh, that's good. Let me take a look at it. And I think it's about $80 a month. And so I knew something wasn't cool about that because 400,000 you ain't getting for no $80 a month for no two people. But anyway, so I looked at it. They had 100 on her. And I went on every line. For year one, they had 120 on her husband. Watch this. Year two, we got to 180, and so on and so forth. We didn't get to 400,000 on her husband to year 12. She started cussing. When I showed her what she had, this is that company that be duping folks. And I said, ma'am, you won't have 400,000 on your husband till 12 years from now. I said, and then your premium then will no longer be $80 or $90 a month. It will be $480 a month. Did they tell you that? They didn't tell me that. Blah, 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 blah. So when people call me, I'm going to give you the real deal. If you're good, I'm not going to mess with you. Because, see, when you have insurance, you've had it generally for years. Am I right?
Yeah.
You've had it for years. And if it's good, we're not going to uproot you out of something that's good and say, yeah, come on over here to me. No, boo, we don't do that. We want to make sure you're good.
That's cool. Maite, we got a question. Go.
Yeah. So King Mine Cola wants to know, can a life insurance policy be a part of your will?
It can. You can have what's called a trust. You can place it in a trust, but you have to deal with that with your lawyer, and we give them the policy number, and they can place that life insurance in a trust for your young ones or for in the will for whoever it's set for.
Okay. I love. That's an awesome question. Tell us this, Vanessa, as we're dwindling down. We got a little less than 15 minutes left, but this has been so amazing. Share with us what the difference is between the cost difference between a burial
Mm-hmm.
and a cremation. And
Okay.
do you get a lot of people now who, and then why don't you also tell us about what is the fee now that pretty much public aid is charging people who don't have insurance, period? What's some of the things, I guess, you all are able to do for people like that? Or do you even work with public aid to bury people? Do you step in and then, okay,
Yeah, we don't get involved with
that
burials
part?
and things like that, but I do know the cost for burials versus cremations. Now, when cremations first came out, they were only $3,500, $3,500. But because everybody resorted to cremations as opposed to burials now, they jumped up to $5,500, $5,000 or $6,000
Look
because
at,
it's a demand for it. When there becomes a demand for anything, the price jumps up because everybody wants it and it's considered hot.
Yeah.
Now, to bury a person, you're generally talking between, you can get some funeral homes to do 7,000 to 10 to 12,000, but it's usually about 9 to 10,000 for burial.
And then they're asking cash, right? So how does that work? Because I know this is probably
Who's asking cash?
I was told that when you go to the burial place, that you have to pay cash.
You know what? You're right. Now, that's what a lot of people don't know, and I'm glad you mentioned it because I was going to mention that after. The funeral is 7 to 10,000, 11,000, whatever, 12,000. But now the burial ground, you can't do anything until you pay them 2,500 to 3,000 cash up front. That has nothing to do with your policy. Nothing to do with your policy.
And how fast
right,
do you get a policy?
cash.
How about that? That's another question. Okay, you've got insurance. Your grandmama has gone. She had a policy because she told us what she needs us to do. Mm-hmm. How soon do you get? People need to know this. How soon do you get that money, that check from the insurance?
Okay, you notice that they have a funeral within a week, right?
Yeah.
So
7 days is usually
the 7 days,
yeah,
a week to 2. Some will wait to that next Saturday, wait almost 2 weeks. And what they do is they have they talk to the funeral home, and the funeral home gives them the funeral home calls the insurance company, and the insurance company takes that the funeral home takes that policy number, and they give the insurance company the amount that they're going to need to pull out of that policy. So in other words, if your policy is $10,000 and you have $100,000, the insurance company is going to mail you 90 after paying the funeral home 10.
Vanessa, but and I don't want to cut you off, my taste. So remember what you were getting ready to say, Vanessa. Mm-hmm. Why would I call a funeral? Why would I let anybody negotiate my money? This is my policy. You tell the funeral home what you're agreeing to purchase with them. What you're agreeing to. You don't tell them how much their policy is. Right. I just want to make sure you put that out there. No, whatever you do, don't tell that funeral home how much your policy is, because they will spend it all up.
I was going there. No. I was going there.
This is after you sat down with the funeral home. You say, I want this, this, and this. I want that casket. I want that. And then your amount comes up to 9,000. Your amount comes up to 10,000 or whatever. And they have no concern. I mean, they have no reason to know what you have in that policy.
I would even say, I would tell them I have cash. And then at the very end, tell them I got insurance.
Right. Yeah, just tell I'm working with minimal funds.
That's okay,
gotcha.
I'm working with minimal funds. What can you do for me? And I know personally, you all, just in case somebody need, I know personally funeral homes that can bury your family, everything for $7,000 and under. Because these funeral homes be trying to take your money away. Yeah, so I know I have personal friends in the business. I do insurance for it, and they take care of my clients, and they will do it for $7,000 and under. So you don't have to be out of $11,000 and $12,000. And you still get a beautiful casket. You still get a wonderful service, all of that.
But I think my concern would be, y'all gonna trip. My concern would be, but how that body gonna look for $7,000? I just feel like sometimes
that first. I look at that first. I'm not going to refer nobody who's going to.
And once they mess it up,
because that's the first question we ask, right? Who got the body?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
but isn't that the truth? Tell us this, Vanessa, as we are now dwindling down to our last moments, and we're so thankful that you decided to come on with us today, because I know your schedule. I know that you're busy. I want you to share with us, walking away from our show today, what would be your greatest concern for us as at large? What do you want us to really remember as we're sitting down thinking about life insurances and things of this nature, as being single women, as being a husband and wife team? How much insurance do you think we should have? Talk to us just a little bit about that. And you got a few minutes.
Yes. I would say first and foremost, the thing you started with this whole conversation, handle your business.
Minding your business. Yes, ma'am.
Minding your business. It doesn't take any money to inquire.
Jesus.
It doesn't cost. It does not cost to inquire. If somebody's charging you to ask questions, you move on. Okay? So it starts there. Take your time, do an assessment of what you have. Do an assessment of the value of your items, the policies that you have in place, the policies that you've been saying, I'm going to get to. I tell people like this, tomorrow is not promised. So don't procrastinate. Don't keep saying, I'm going to get to it. I'm going to do this sooner or later. After my sister passed away last year, remember, and after my sister passed away, baby sister of COVID, life changed for me. I went out and did all kinds of things. I said, look, I don't know, I just bought a new house, everything, because time waits for nobody. And I would tell everybody on this line, call your agent. If you don't know your agent and you don't really trust your agent, then contact me. I would be more than happy to help you. I would love to have your business, but I explain why I don't pull for your business, because I'm more concerned about you. And I tell you one thing, when you take care of people, they will refer people to you because they can trust you. Absolutely. That's what a lot of my pastors say. I can trust Vanessa because I know she is not about trying to, so I would like for everybody, take an assessment, do a general assessment of your items, your personal portfolio, your youngsters. A lot of our children, I don't care if they are 25 years old, they still sometimes acting like youngsters that need help. You can get policies on them now. They don't even have to pee in a cup. Some of them don't want to pee in the cup because the whatever they want. And then the question on the application said, do you smoke? Now watch this. If you smoke cigarettes, you have to say yes. But if you smoke marijuana, you don't have to smoke.
So I'm done. You get ready to get a lot of business.
I know, baby. I'm gonna tell you something. I got policies right now that we can write for you, your family. They ain't got to answer not one question. Bam. I put one person in, I press enter, and an hour later they were approved. They didn't even call.
What do you? Okay, so I've got two questions for you as we're leaving the show. One of them is going to be, can you go back and cover for us one more time the two or the types of insurance? And then can you, before you give us the answer to that, can you also share with us how much a family insurance policy, a mom and her 4 children, or how about a mom and a dad and their 4 children, what should they carry in reference to insurance? And then talk to us just a little bit, maybe you could talk to us in line with all that about the types of insurance. Can you tell us that one more time? But I want to know about that.
First of all, the types of insurance you have whole life and you have term life. You also have a policy called universal life, and that's a little bit in the middle, and that has a different type of a cash value. But generally, universal life, I noticed that it kind of fizzled out a little bit. So your standard policies are whole life and term life, okay? So there are different types of whole and term life. Again, we talked about the term 10, 20, and 30 years, but every family ought to have a general general life insurance policy. Now, for the father and the mother, the leaders of the family, they need at least we talked about those policies, like a policy should the mother become deceased. Can the father continue to raise those children? We always talk about the father becoming deceased and the mother raising the children, but the father needs help too if the mother became deceased, okay? So the same thing, if the father became deceased, can they continue to live on at the level that they're living at now? So each parent needs to have, I recommend $250,000. Okay. I recommend $250,000, but the minimum on your standard terms is $150,000, and they're very inexpensive. But if you add another $100,000, you may pay only another $10 or $20 a month for just that extra $100,000. So that's why I usually recommend $150,000. But when you talk about doing each of those children, you can do the quick policies. I call them the quick policies for $50,000. I did somebody for $9 a month. Touch your neighbor.
Wow.
Okay. But you can do those for each of your adults. Because you got their whole family insured, the husband, the wife, and then each adult child. Now, for those quick policies, you will not be able to put those grandchildren on there. They have the quick policy just for that person. The other policies, the term policies that's fully underwritten, you can add the child rider for that $2. Remember we talked about that $2? They have to do the full policy where they ask them the question, do you smoke? And I'm gonna tell you, I tell my clients this all the time. I say, look, when you're talking to the life insurance people, don't create conversation. They're not your friend. They're just taking care of business. So they goes, do you do scuba diving? No. Do you do skydiving? And one of my clients said, no, I don't do skydiving, but I'd like to try that out one day. Okay, his rate went from $15
To
$75 a month because he told him I would like to skydive one day. Okay, so I had to call him back. I said, that's my crazy nephew. He didn't mean that. He was just clowning. He's one of my friends from living where her son, we were like sisters. So they changed it, of course. But I just tell you, be careful what you say to them. I ain't got cancer, but all my family had cancer, honey. I got out. Ain't no time for testimony service. Now, they're going to relate you to cancer.
Right.
Because it ran in your family. So do not talk about extra stuff. And I want to tell this quick story before I leave. I wrote a young lady, one of my agents, I told him, write your grown daughter. I'm kind of anal about our grown children. I said, your daughter's 18 now. I know she got the little Gerber baby policy, but I need you to write your grown daughter an adult policy. And I kid you not, y'all, $14 a month. So you know I ain't making no money off no $14. I'm just concerned about him writing his granddaughter now that she turned 18. He went on and wrote a $14 a month, $100,000 policy. It was about 6-7 years ago. And, we wrote it in July and, everything. He calls me in, he calls me in February. Vanessa, did we ever get that policy for my daughter? No, we had to mail them the policy and everything. That's at 11:30 at night. Well, did we ever get that policy for my daughter? I said, dude, we wrote that policy. Why are you calling me at 11:30 at night? He said she just got killed in a head-on collision on her way to work. On her way to work, 18 years old, she was going to college part-time and working for UPS part-time. On her way to work, she got killed in a head-on collision, fell asleep under the wheel. Now, people talk about the 2-year contestability period. If you had a policy for 2 years, you got to wait for 2 years. People don't understand. They have to wait for 2 years. I'll be done in 30 seconds. They have to wait for 2 years because they have to question that policy. If we wrote that girl and she was on drugs or something that she didn't tell the insurance company, they would not have paid out. But because she simply fell asleep under the wheel, and there was no reason to say that we wrote a policy on a bad person, they paid that man $100,000 check and his wife for their daughter. So they do pay out within that 2-year period, as long as you didn't lie on the policy. And one young man in June wrote a policy, and he died in December, 28 years old.
Tell us how we can reach you one more time.
Yes, 708-383-1400, or if you can email me at vdukes@amfam.com.
Oh my God. Thank you so much.
Love you,
Vanessa,
guys,
for being with us today. Listen, somebody asked a question. Do you believe they should have a burial, continue to invest into burial insurance? However, we're going to make you could text me the answer and I'll put it out here on our feed really quick. You all, I thank you so much for joining. Minding your own business is not a bad thing. It's a good thing. It's about minding what you say, minding that you walk in integrity and character. And I think you said it's fully loaded. Look, minding your business means taking care of your business. Look, you do it. Look, thank you to my engineer, Big J. Oh, we love you so much, and we're going to have you back. Thank you to my coach today, Maite Johnson. We appreciate our notary, our realtor, guru. Of course, thank you to my own executive producer who is here with me in Carbondale. I appreciate you. Shout out to American Airlines today and our SIU folks, and to all of our high schoolers who are here and they're learning because we're investing back into them. I appreciate you all. One sister to another with a show, with a podcast, with information, inspiration, and godly revelation. And we're heard live every Saturday at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. We're going to talk to you all on next week. God bless.
God bless.
Thank you again. God bless you guys.